How's it going, everyone? My name is Ryan, and I did a video earlier, and I just got the camera and the microphone stuff, and I tried to set it all up, and I had my microphone on my camera on, so it was echoing. So I decided I would just go ahead and re-record the whole thing and just post this video. So if you tuned in earlier, then you saw some of the stuff that I'm going to cover. I'm not going to talk about everything that I talked about in the last episode or in the live episode, but I'm just mainly going to stick to what's on the thing here, which will be this stuff here. China's space race, Facebook and TikTok, and I'm not even going to go into the retirement age changes. It was pretty boring, but they're wanting to change the retirement age again if some Republicans and Democrats get their way. But I'm just going to talk about some of the stuff that's in this here. So the first article I'm going to talk about is Amazon glasses with their echo possibilities. I'm not going to say it because I have one in the room and she'll start talking, and that'll pretty much ruin everything again. But so this article, I remember when these first came out, they had like Google Glass, and I don't think that they did that great. The technology was fairly new on it, so they I think oil fields used them here where I'm at in Oklahoma, and they used it for like line of sight, but it wasn't real predominant technology. But with this coming out, it's pretty much you're going to be able to take Amazon's stuff wherever you go. So what I think this could possibly be is if they integrate some sort of facial recognition software in these, and then they allow law enforcement to use them, which would be interesting. But the article says Amazon introduces glasses with Alexa capabilities. It's from Seattle, Washington. It says Amazon is rolling out a new gadget that's turning some heads. Amazon has introduced Echo frames, and they're glasses frames with Alexa capabilities. It says they're in the introductory period, and they are not compatible with iPhones. The company introduced Echo frames this week, and they are glasses frames that allow you to carry Alexa around right on your face. This product is in its early edition currently and not being rolled out to the public quite yet. It says Amazon members can request an invitation to get one of the first to try the product. The introductory price will be $179.99, with the eventual price becoming $249.99 after the introductory period. At posting, Amazon is advising members the frames will not be compatible with the iOS smartphone devices, such as iPhones. Android devices are compatible. So the frames do not include prescription lenses. And if you're interested in this technology, you can contact Amazon and you can get you a pair of smart glasses, I guess. I mean, they look, if they come out and they look like that, I think that would probably, people would probably be into something like that. But that kind of reminds me of Terminator, how his eye would adjust and he could read people and tell if they're an enemy. And I mean, who knows, people might like the technology. And this article is, I mean, it's kind of it goes into, so recently there's been a lot of different countries trying to get into the space race again, and we haven't really done this except for during the big space race when we landed on the moon. But now China's getting in the game, and they're wanting to try their hand at it. So they've been launching rockets off over there. And this goes through a whole list of them, but it says China launches 2 rockets within 3 hours in its latest space rally. And there are some videos here. I'm not going to play the videos because of copyright infringements, but I'll post them in the link below, and you guys can check those out. But it says Chinese Long March 6 rocket launch 5 satellites into orbit on the Ningxia 1 mission Wednesday, November the 13th, just 3 hours after launch, in a double header that comes amid a busy 2 months for China's space industry. So China has launched a series of Long March rockets, and the new Kazwa 1A booster have made 7 launches in recent weeks. And Space.com has some cool videos showing off each one. Here's what they've launched in that time. So November 13th, 1:35 a.m., a Long March 6 launches Ningxia 1, and it says, see the video above. It says this orbital launch lofted 5 remote sensing satellites into orbit from the Taiwan Satellite Launching Center in Shanxi province. This mission was the first time that the Long March 6 launched to low inclination orbit, according to NASA Spaceflight.com. And then it goes into a whole list of the things that they're doing here, and over on this side, you can see this little diagram. how they're actually doing it. But I'll post this link in the here you go. I'll post this link in the description below, and you guys could check it out. Like I said, the article just really goes into a whole bunch of different launches that they've been doing. I mean, I think it's pretty cool everyone is trying to do this, but so there you go on that. I mean, it's pretty neat if you ask me. So this just kind of shows how it all works out or whatever. And if you're listening on the podcast, you obviously can't see what we're all seeing, but you can go to the Kingsman Report on YouTube and you can watch these videos. Let's see if this has some sound. You can see them all watching the rocket there, but this looks so CGI, if you ask me. I mean, this looks just fake. I mean, what? You see the video. I mean, it looks so fake. I mean, it's pretty neat if you ask me, but I mean, it's technology is just getting crazy. I'll post this article in the link below, and you guys can check that out there as well. But China's in the run for the space race. You know, you got Elon Musk launching satellites for various countries. So you know, China's trying it. So we'll see where this goes with them. So I constantly talk about, you know, Google. I think it was yesterday, the day before yesterday, I talked about how they're infringing upon everybody's rights. This article came out and it says that Google plans to offer checking accounts next year. Now, if you're paranoid like me, I wouldn't do this. In the article I read the other day, I said that they were gathering health information on their users, and we don't necessarily know where that information is going, but we do know that there has been complaint by consumers about them gathering the information, so we'll see where that goes. But this is another way, you know, they're trying to get more information. But it says Google plans to offer checking accounts next year. The partnership with Citigroup and Stanford Credit Union would launch next year. And it says Google is planning to offer checking accounts within its Google Pay app, the Wall Street Journal reports. Its Cache project, which could launch as soon as next year, will be offered in partnership with Citigroup and a small Stanford University Credit Union. It says Google says that the accounts will be branded up front as coming from these banks, which will handle the financial back end and regulatory compliance. Now, I always say this, it's best to read between the lines when it comes to stuff like this, but if your information is out there, if they're getting your medical records and all, all that type of stuff, they're going to have your personal information here. I would be very careful about putting any information, other than what you have on there. I wouldn't give too much more. If you have a smartphone, probably a lot of your information is already out there, so I would just be careful with that. The article goes on to say Google executive Cesar Sengupta told the Wall Street Journal that the initiative is designed to help more people do more stuff in a digital way online, and he noted that the service could be used to offer loyalty card programs. The publication also notes that checking accounts contain a huge amount of valuable data about consumer spending, as well as information about how much people earn. Google, however, has been quick to claim that it won't sell checking account financial data to its advertisers, but it probably will. And it added that it doesn't currently use Google Pay data for advertising purposes. In recent years, big tech companies have been increasingly interested in pushing into financial services. Earlier this year, Apple launched a credit card, the Apple Card, in partnership with Goldman Sachs, and Facebook announced Libra, a cryptocurrency, is attempting to launch with a collection of other tech and finance companies. Just yesterday, Facebook announced Facebook Pay, a service for sending money over the company's social network and app. Even Amazon has reportedly investigated offering checking accounts to teens. These initiatives have already created big problems for the companies and that are offering them. Apple's credit card is being investigated for discriminating against women, and earlier this month, almost half a dozen companies dropped out of Facebook's Libra association. As regulators grow increasingly wary of the planned cryptocurrency, this push into financial services also arrives at as the world is coming to terms with the privacy implications of concentrating so much user data in the hands of small number of tech giants. At the same time as Silicon Valley's tech giants move to financial services, a number of smaller tech-focused banks have started to emerge, including Revolt and Monzo, the latter of which launched in the U.S. earlier this year. Left in the middle, traditional banks could soon start to feel the squeeze. So, if you plan on doing this, I would use caution. Obviously, if this is something that you plan on doing or want to try to do or whatever, I would just be careful with the information that you put online. But I mean, who knows, right? So I guess I will talk about this. But I always say by the time I'm old enough to retire, there won't be any retirement left. Well, that might be a possibility if certain Democrats and Republicans, get their wish. So it says the Social Security retirement age could go up, and here's why. Here's why that change won't be easy. It says landmark Social Security legislation passed in 1983 ushered in a series of changes to the program, including gradually raising the full retirement age to 67 from 65, which efforts needed to restore the program's solvency and life expectancy trending upwards. Some wonder if that age should be bumped up again. Here's how changing the retirement age could send a signal to workers to retire later and possibly put individuals who are already on shaky financial ground at risk. So there's a picture of Reagan signing the Social Security Act amendment with Vice President George Bush. You also notice a fella right there. It looks like old Bob Dole. It says the year was 1983 when something unusual happened. Republicans and Democrats compromised and passed landmark legislation to reform Social Security. So the deal came from an unlikely pairing. Then President Ronald Reagan, a Republican, and Tip O'Neill, a Democrat congressman from Massachusetts and Speaker of the House. Together with Majority Senate Leader Howard Baker, representative from Tennessee, they set up a bipartisan commission to evaluate Social Security. And on April 20th, 1983, Reagan signed amendments to the program that ushered in changes in financing, coverage, and benefit rules. Recently, Senator Mitt Romney from Utah unveiled a new proposal for Social Security that advocates setting up bipartisan committees to look at repairing the program's balance sheet, as well as those of the nation's Medicare and highway programs. It says the proposal has some concern that history will repeat itself and usher in one change, raising the full retirement age again. So, you know, here we are again, and I mean, who knows if they get their way. If they get their way, then who knows what could happen. But I thought I'd reshoot this video. You guys just bear with me while I get everything situated. Eventually I'm going to get a background here instead of the plain stuff. But what I do here, if this is the first time you're tuning in, I find news articles that people overlook or ignore, and then I kind of you know, give my opinions on those things. This is something that, you know, I've watched this system, the beast system, if you want to call it that, for a long time, and you know, it seems as we start to move further on in this, you know, they're selling it to us as a utopia, but it'll be a dystopia of control and order, and, you know, social credit scores and vaccinations and genetically modified organisms, and I mean all sorts of stuff. But, you know, some people just see it as a convenience, and that's how they sell it to us, as, hey, this is a convenience, you know, you'll be better off if you, you know, try these different things that we're implementing. And a lot of the time, you know, it's the government is involved with a lot of these corporations, and they're saying, well, we're not infringing on your rights, but it's the corporations doing it, and they use the corporations to do it in order to bypass, you know, your I mean, basically all your constitutional rights, your Fourth Amendment, your First Amendment. You know, the government, a lot of people want to go after your Second Amendment. But these are just things that I do. I look over different news articles, and I read different types of things, and then I just share it with you guys. That's why it's called the Kingsman Report, the news that everyone ignores, because this is overlooked, especially where I'm at. You know, I'm in Oklahoma, and a lot of time people don't necessarily pay attention to this stuff. And I'm kind of trying to shed a light on it here in my area. There are other guys that do this, you know, a lot better than even I do this. but we're just trying to cause some sort of awareness. You know, pay attention. I say this all the time. Pay attention to what's going on in the Middle East with the trade routes with Turkey, the Asia deal that was just passed with China, and you know, the trade routes that they're opening up through the Middle East into Russia and Europe. Before I get off here, I wanted to say, keep the families and the victims of the shooting today in California in your prayers. It's another senseless act of violence. The young man that did it, I guess, was a 15-year-old kid, possibly classmate. I haven't really paid too much attention to it. But, you know, keep them in your prayers. And also, there's been a lot of earthquakes that have been happening over in Indonesia. As a matter of fact, since we're on here, let's go ahead and see if we can't find something on here. I think it was like a 7.1. Well, they're saying 8.7. If that is an 8.7, that is... Let's try this. Oops. See if I can find this real quick. Alright, so it says there's been 40 earthquakes in the past 24 hours, 52 earthquakes within the past 7 days, and 87 earthquakes in the past 30 days, 739 earthquakes in the past year. So yeah, what's today? Well, I guess tomorrow. It was a 7.1. It looks like in this area, the largest earthquake so far was a 7.1, and it looks like it was out to sea, but where they're saying it is right here in this Bitung, North Sulawesi, Indonesia. So this is going to be over in this area here. I don't know if these are populated, but obviously an earthquake out here at sea can easily cause a tsunami, and I hadn't really looked into this. So if there's anyone over there, also, you know, keep those people in your prayers. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. My name is Ryan, and this is the Kingsman Report. When I do these, you can watch the stream, which I totally screwed up tonight, but you can watch the stream on YouTube under the Kingsman Report, and you should like and subscribe. It'll get better once I get used to doing all this. As I upgrade, I gotta learn more stuff. You can watch on Twitch under the Kingsman Report and D Live under the Kingsman Report. You can also follow the Kingsman Report on Instagram, on Twitter at the Kingsman Rep 1. Facebook, the Kingsman Report, and there's also a webpage you can go to as well. These are all uploaded onto podcasts later on, and they're available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Deezer, Podcast Addict, and many more. So you can also get them there if you miss it here. So if you enjoyed the video and it wasn't too boring for you, you know, like and subscribe, turn on your bell notifications, and I guess I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. You guys have a good night, and until next time, I see you guys. Shalom.